Welcome. Hello, welcome. This is Maniac Tim with Maniac Sports, The Roar. Um, Yesterday, I had the privilege to go to my second week in a row to go to the um, indoor football league game hosted by the West Michigan Ironman, which plays in the Trinity Health Arena at was formerly the Walk Arena, formerly the Mercy Health Arena. Now it's called the Trinity Health Arena. A great, it's a little venue, but I think I heard they won like the last 4 years in a row. They're the indoor football league champions. Basically it's arena league, a lower level one than what the original Grand Rapids Arena League used to play in. But it it's an exciting place to go. Uh, as far as for indoor football, as far as for being catering to your fans, uh, it's a real good atmosphere, real fan friendly sport. Uh, it's and for people who say there isn't a defensive, ball ball game. It My first game that I went to, it was not that defensively. It was uh, um, last week it was against the Detroit Ravens. Uh, they the West Michigan Ironman was able to pull it off like 62 to something. I think it was 62 48 or something like that. I can't remember the exact score last week. I know this week it was oh boy, like 48 to 12. So where they were able to pull out a victory. But over the Michigan Avengers. And last year, the only team to beat the West Michigan Ironman was the Michigan Avengers. It was at the stadium um, of the Michigan Avengers. But yesterday, it was hosted at the Trinity Health Arena in Muskegon, and they were able to come and win. The Lions, or not the Lions, the West Michigan Ironman went ahead and won, and they won convincingly. It wasn't until like the third quarter where the um, Detroit Ravens even got on the scoreboard. So, in saying that, congratulations, Detroit Ravens. You'll notice that I have signatures on my hats. What I'm saying, fan friendly case, a fan friendly sport. Um, after every game, you're allowed to go on the field and get autographs from the players. Um, it's a lot of the players will take pictures and stuff like that with you, and it's just really a good atmosphere. Unfortunately, um, some of the signatures I'll never be able to see that well because they had silver um, pens and stuff like that. But I just need to learn to carry my own black pen and that. And I wasn't really thinking much of autographs when I first went there, but I said, "Hey, sign my hat," So I was able to get them to sign my hat. Um, but getting back to the real team that Manic Sports is about. Uh, you know, as you know, I'm not just into one team, but my main team that I root for, that I follow, is the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions have been relatively, they're not ones to go ahead and really go after the high price free agents and stuff like that. Um, they're good at playing money ball, and they're more better at um, bringing people into as free as on 1 year, if it's usually like 1 year deal and stuff like that. Although they did sign the best available corner, uh, uh, DJ Reed. They signed him 3 year deal, $48 million contract, formerly of the Jets, where Reed stated that we were one of two teams that he really wanted to go to, either here or the Washington Commanders. Ended up going here, uh, which is really great for the Lions. We did lose Carlton Davis, though. But I think bringing in Reed, even though he's a bit shorter, I think he's going to help us out. Um, I do, I do really want to see another edge rusher be brought in, though. Um, I can understand, especially when we would have had a void year after this year, where there would have been uh, we would have had to pay him like $6 million for Darius Smith. I can understand why the Lions did release him. Um, who knows? You could still pick him up if you wanted to redo his deal and stuff like that. Resign him. Although he had some good sacks and stuff like that while he played for the Lions. Unfortunately, he did. The releasing did get we did lose draft capital when we signed him, or when we traded for him, excuse me. But I'm saying that's it is understandable why the Detroit Lions released him. It was basically for this year's signing bonus hit. Next year, um, he wouldn't have been on Lions anyway, and they would have got a salary cap hit. So they saved like $11 million and stuff like that by releasing him when they did. I know this isn't no new news, but okay. Roy Lopez, the Lions also signed Roy Lopez, signing 1 year deal, basically a prove it deal for $4.65 million contract, um, and also Grant Stewart, linebacker, 1 year guarantee deal goes through free agents, and also quarterback Kyle Allen for a 1 year deal, tight end uh, Kennedy, 1 year deal. They haven't acquired anybody through the draft, or not through the draft, through trades this year. Of course, we haven't acquired anybody through the draft this year because that hasn't happened yet. Okay, as far as for the re-signing, Lions re-signed Craig Reynolds for a 1 year deal. Wide receiver, and Craig Reynolds, he's one of the guys that's he's backup running back. Been with the Lions for like 3 years or something, and he has also proved himself. Wide receiver Tim Patrick, 1 year for $4 million. Patrick is one that really wants to play here, and he really helped us out this year. Uh, Lions re-signed Dan Skipper to a 1 year deal. Uh, for a 1 year deal, and Marcus Davenport for a 1 year deal. Uh, okay, and then we have Miles Adams 1 year deal, Levi Anzawitsi for a 1 1 deal, or to a 1 year deal. Derek Bonds 3 years, $25 million deal, and Anthony Pittman 1 year, $1.25 million deal. Uh, and then you have Maurice Norris 1 year deal, or 1 year deal, 80 $800,000 $840,000 deal. Trenders apply 1 year deal. Michael Niels and Trevor signing elsewhere. I'm not going to look at the signing elsewhere right now. However, I do feel that what I'm going to say is I still want to see the Lions come up with another edge rusher, dominant edge rusher to be opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. I want to see that 1-2 punch. The both sides that we have. Of course, we'll have other people getting healthier. When we get to see more people that are healthy, Lions should be a lot better than what they were at the end of the season because there was just too many people injured. I know we lost a offensive lineman, so I really want to see the Lions. They really just got to keep building the offensive lineman because that's the thing that the line is going to be what builds, what causes both offensive and defense lines are going to be really what builds and determines what how your team is going to be. I mean those two. It's one in the trenches. Um, you need those big players, those fast players, those great players that are going to either open those holes for you, are going to be an offensive side that's going to open those holes for you, going to keep um, keep the people out of the um, keep them out of the Jared Goff face. Keep the defense off Jared Goff's face. So that's why we need to have the offensive line. And we know Philadelphia had both. Philadelphia had a great offense, a great defense. Now Philadelphia still has a real great defense, but I think they've lost a lot. Players through free agency. So they have lost. And it's kind of funny that that C.J. Gardner Johnson gets traded. That big mouth son of I'm not going to go too far into what I really want to call him, but he really did do the Lions good that much when he was there, except go ahead and make us a target against the Seahawks. Wanted to play 2 games and got hurt. The rest of the season didn't really show up that much. Uh, so so I'm glad he's no longer with the Lions. I just think that he had a big mouth. He did not prove that he was going to be valuable. And no, you can't help getting hurt and stuff like that. You can't, but it's, you can help on how you perform, how you, you know, I'm sure there was other reasons why the Lions didn't make all kinds of way to go ahead and bring him back. I mean, there was a lot of fans that were depending on him, and as we know, he did not show up. So, that's what happened. That is exactly, you know, basically what happened. Um, Now, I do think that I, I I think winners so far in free agency, though, and I do think we got to look at the Chicago Bears. They've been really looking to really trying to bolster signing both offensive and defensive line players. Now the NFC North team, you know, it's and I hope, you know, yeah, and no offense to the country podcasts and stuff like that. I really consider you guys friends and stuff like that. Unfortunately, you guys just happen to be on the team that you know are betraying basically our trader because he was trader to the Lions. Um, Ben Johnson, the way he left, the way he's acting. Yeah, you gotta support the team that you're the head coach to. You know, um, granted, Jared Goff has his faults. He does. Um, there was times when um, his first year with the Detroit Lions, was not good. His last year with the LA Rams was not good. Uh, Jared Goff can be awful at times, but yet alone, he's still the quarterback that the Lions were able to win two, you know, uh, two playoff games a year ago. He, um, he's also the quarterback that got us the um, to the most wins we ever had in the regular season. Uh, so, you know, uh, it's just you gotta have the people around them. Uh, I just think that injuries just really just totally destroyed the Lions in the playoffs. We wasn't ready, and I also think that it was preparing us to phase out that we'd be able to come in and kick the Commanders' ass. We were not able to do that. The Commanders went ahead and spanked our butts pretty good. Um, you know, but yeah, hey, we're still the best in NFC North. We went further than any NFC North team did this year. We were undefeated. The Detroit Lions were undefeated in the NFC North. Um, had the best record in the NFC. So, hey, you just go ahead and you can take that for what it's all worth. Um, I think you got to just look at it and say, you know, I mean, there's a lot of times I wish I had a mobile quarterback. I wish the Lions had a more mobile quarterback. I don't know what's going on with Hendon Hooker. Uh, there must be something going on where he hasn't developed well. Because I mean, why would you when you had Hendon Hooker bring back Teddy Bridgewater and make him your number two in the playoffs? We, uh, I don't know if it's an attitude problem. I just don't know if it's maybe the injury was worse than what he thought, and maybe he just doesn't have the heart to play for the Lions as a backup. There's some people that feel that they are the starters, that they should be the starters. So they're not going to. When you're behind a quarterback where it's embedded that he is a starter no matter what, and that's what Jared Goff is right now. He is a starter no matter what. And with the amount of money that the Lions paid him, it's you don't really see much chance in getting into ball game, especially when he's a when and which is a good thing because Jared Goff is not one to get hurt. You know, uh, I know he was pulled out of some games, but it was embarrassing at the uh, the the divisional round of the playoffs when you have the Commanders um, shouting Jared Goff, because he threw too many interceptions that game. But like I say, that loss was not all his fault. It was a total team effort as far as losing, and I think our coordinators were not into it. Uh, Lions better not give anybody else from any of their assistants permission to be talking to other teams why the season is still going anymore. Because hey, when you actually signed a contract with another team, do you really care about that team anymore? And that's where I got to look at it. I don't, you know, they had nothing to prove. Both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, because they already had their deals tied up. Okay, but they had nothing to prove. Um, but in saying that, it is what it is. It definitely is what it is. Uh, but we're going to get to see how the Lions are going to do, what they'll do in the draft. What do you guys think they should get? Do you think they should, number one, do you think they should take the best available player in the draft? Do you think they should take the best available player that is a need for the team, as far as position wise? Do you think the Lions should trade down to get maybe a better edge rusher? Um, yeah, and what would you be willing to give up? Should they trade another team for, you know, to get the edge rusher in? You know, when I look at, when I look at the Commanders still building, trying to get better, and right now when I look at Jalen Daniels, you know, uh, I'm looking at all the quarterbacks, that are in the NFC, and you look at how hard it was for the Detroit Lions to get to Daniels, and not only the Detroit Lions. Now with the strong defense that Philadelphia had, they were able to go ahead and take, you know, take the play of Jaden Daniels out, you know, um, really good. And you also got to look at what running quarterbacks have done against the Detroit Lions. You had what Justin. Of course, we didn't see Justin Fields last year, but you had Jordan Love, which moved the ball really good against the Detroit Lions. You had uh, Caleb Williams, which is going to be behind a much better offensive line, behind a head coach that is known for his trick play, that learned under Dan Campbell, that I'm sure is going to go ahead and go for it a lot on fourth downs. So it's going to be those. I think you know. And another thing with the Commanders too, the Commanders were the only team to go for more on fourth downs than the Detroit Lions, because when you have a quarterback like Jalen Daniels that can get you out of trouble, that can go ahead and scramble when you guys are coming at you, that can, oh man, when he's not only the best passer but the best runner on that team, you're going to go ahead and you have that confidence in making it. Um, so, and the ability to make it, you know. But let's see who the Lions players can go ahead and help get people, you know, help coach people to come to play for us, to play for the Detroit Lions. Uh, hey, and you still got a question mark on what the Packers are going to do. The Packers are going to be, because we all know that the Packers, you know, they were used to for so many years owning the NFC North, and hey, there's no doubt about it. They did. It may have been with help from the sheriff, and when I refer to the sheriff, I know that's the referees. I mean, there was times that the refs bailed those bastards out so many times, uh, out of games. And that was what was said too with the Chiefs too, that the refs bailed them out and stuff like that in a lot of games. Of course, they couldn't even begin to bail them out in Super Bowl, because it, the dominance of the defensive line of the um, Philadelphia Eagles was just which is too much for Patrick Mahomes and company. You know, but what do you think? Do you think Brad Holmes should really go off script and get that those guys that's going to really make the difference to get to that Super Bowl? What will you be willing to give up, and at what point would you you know would you rather wait until the in-season free agency? Um, as far as when you're in when you're in the season and free agency opens up back up and you see what team you really have. you know Now, I always been the one, and I gotta go for how I feel. I feel I would be willing to sacrifice some of the future for bringing in those names, for getting for getting that guy or those couple guys that's going to put you over the edge. You know, in that, you know, in that Super Bowl, but it needs to be at the right time. You know, you know you need to be able to have them at the right time because I mean I'll tell you, Lions were just too devastated on injuries where last year wasn't going to be the right time. You know, and getting somebody's second fiddle is not going to be as good as getting somebody's first fiddle. And what I'm saying about that, yeah, the Lions got the Darius Smith. He played all right for us. He played good for us, as in picking up the slack for when Aiden Hutchinson was out, but he was not that player. He was not Miles Davis. When Miles Davis was really talking the trade that he wanted to be traded, we knew that Miles was that much better than what the Darius Smith was. We knew that Max Crosby was that much better than Smith was. So, getting somebody's second fiddle is not going to be like getting that guy that is like another Aiden Hutchinson right beside you. And I mean to have those people right there is what I'm saying. They're it, it's not going to do it, you know. But hey, it is what it is. The Lions do what they do. Brad Holmes, we all in Detroit want to see the Lions go ahead and really get that player. We want to see the Lions, and we want to see, the Lions have been a relevant team for a couple of years, and I really gotta say, if you look at it for the last 3 years, because of course, year before last they did not even make the playoffs. But it was like they were one game from making the playoffs. Um, 2 years ago, uh, but they didn't. You know, so they have been a relevant team. They have been building. Uh, they're I think they have proven that they are a good place with a good ownership, with a great ownership that's going to be backing you. Uh, and like I say, I don't, and they're also a place where hey, uh, where we were good enough that the other teams been for 3 years they have wanted our offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, who did finally leave, of course, as well as our defensive coordinator um, Aaron Glenn, where they both left. But our coordinators have been sought after for the last 2 years, last 3 years. I wonder, and you really gotta wonder uh, if Ben. I don't think he does yet, but there got to be something in the back of Ben Johnson's mind to say after what the Commanders did. All right, this year, after what the Commanders did this year, is he? Yeah, I mean, yes, he's with Chicago, which paid him a boatload of money, okay, to go there. I mean, he would have been crazy to turn it down, actually. So if you look at it from a financial point of view, from a promotional point of view, you can't blame Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. Because you also had. I mean, yeah, they've been a bad team. You end up getting Caleb Williams, where you were, basically he was at all in watching. When they played the Bears at the Bears, uh, he was at all at watching what Caleb Williams could do. You know, uh, if anybody, and I think this is why one of the reasons the Bears went with him over than over anybody else, they seen how Ben Johnson can build a offense where a quarterback is struggling. You know, I mean, he knows how to. Ben Johnson knows how to work with players, and he's also came from a regime that where where was a struggling regime, but went from being a three 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 win with only one tie the first year Dan Campbell went to be uh, the following year missing the playoffs by one game. Then that year after that, going all the way to the NFC Championship game. Uh, then, of course, the last season, the 2025 season or 24 season, they went ahead and won the most wins that the Lions ever had in the history of the franchise. So if you look, why won't you want that? But also you got to look at he's not the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn is not the one. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, they're not the ones. Yeah, they were an intricate part of building the Lions and who they were last year. They were. But it's Brad Holmes. It is um, Dan Campbell that built the Lions, that got the players in, you know, and I mean, hey, it's not the sky is falling. You know, how many people from the Bill Belichick tree has went ahead and gotten and went to another team and actually proved themselves to be head coaches? None. Okay? So just because you guys got the Detroit Lions coordinators does not mean that you are going to end up being instant winners. Yes, they're building teams. And yes, they came from a great franchise. And yes, I'm calling the Detroit Lions a great franchise because you cannot say they're not, because look at what they have became. You know, I mean, everybody said this year was a test. This year was a test. Was when uh, to when you running a first place schedule compared to the schedule that you had the previous year. You know, so you can't tell me the Lions are not for real. And these Lions, had it not been the had it not been the for the injuries, would would the Lions have been the Super Bowl champions? We will never know. Unfortunately, we will never know because those injuries just piled up, piled up, piled up. Now, I'm going to say this got into my mind also because of Grandizer 12 that told me this, and or the access question: do I think the Lions peaked too soon? Uh, no, I don't. Because one thing, uh, you end up getting to a point, you know, where if you're losing, all right. If you lose a few, can gain a few, I mean, I just think if with the injuries, and if they want to, you know, uh, they didn't peak too soon. It was just the injuries that caused them to because that caused them to lose. It was not that they peaked too soon. Uh, bec- because I'll tell you what, one thing that will keep you rolling is winning. One thing that will keep the faith going is winning. Right now, with the Detroit Lions being uh 15-2 team, 15-2, all right, team, going ahead and actually demolishing teams in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs, in the regular season. Just going ahead and taking care of business. Last year, I think they should have had at least one more win than what they had, and that would have been, of course, the Dallas win or the Dallas loss. I think they should have had that. Uh, that should have been theirs. But okay, this year is just the damn bad luck. The damn bad luck of just too many injuries. Uh, when you have a guy like Aiden Hutchinson go down, he would have made a. Just think they got 15 wins without him. Okay, 15 wins without him after I think it was Game 6. All right, you know, um, teams that really only threatened the Lions this year. Two teams really only beat the Lions, and that was there were three teams that beat the Lions, but in regular season, two teams only beat the Lions, and that was, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and also the Buffalo Bills. Tampa Bay, there was really no excuse for that loss by the Lions, except they didn't play well. They didn't do what it takes. They didn't go ahead and rally behind their you know they came out pretty much flat when they lost to Josh Allen, which was having his best season, of his career. All right, uh, and he was playing a devastated Lions defense. You know, um, that made the difference. I think that made the difference. Was I mean, Commanders, and also having our offensive and defensive coordinators already having signed with you know having their head coaching careers next year. Uh, it's like I don't. I'm sorry, I don't think I just I think the Commanders would have had a lot harder time to beat the Lions if the Lions were at full strength, or even had just a few more. Yeah, if Aiden Hutchinson would have been there, you know. Now you got guys that are tough as hell there. All right, look at what St. Brown did the season before. He played hurt. You know, he played injured. All right, you know, and you know Aiden Hutchinson, he wanted to come back, and he would have been back if the Lions could have made it to the Super Bowl. But if he could have been back earlier, maybe he would have. Maybe the Lions could have made it to the Super Bowl. Who knows? Who knows? You know. But so I'm getting, yeah. It's these are just questions. These are just But man, I want I need to see the Lions win a Super Bowl. I don't want to see them win one before I die. Okay? I want to see them win 10 before I die. Okay? At least 2 or 3. But I want to see them get that one. You got to get that one first. You got to get there. Being second best is not good. You got to get there. You got to win the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you what, you know, and you know, I'll give up some draft picks. I'll give up some future considerations to get to that Super Bowl. That's the way I'll do it. Now, yeah, it doesn't work out for everybody. It didn't work out for the Cleveland Browns when they went ahead and got this Deshaun Watson. Don't go ahead. Don't go ahead and get somebody who's been out of football for a year because he took his ball and ran home and didn't want to play. And at first he didn't even want to play for you. He got out. Deshaun Watson got out of shape. He was unable. He set out for that year so that he could go ahead and get it straight. Then Cleveland go, but you look at what the Rams did when they traded Goff for Stafford. They were able to get to that Super Bowl, and they were trading away their picks, their draft picks left and right. You know, they brought in the right people. And it got to be a combination of bringing in free agents and also the draft. That's the way you're going to get to the Super Bowl. And yeah, I'm all for Brad Holmes doing it the way that he did. And this is not a beat you over the head with a stick Brad Holmes show, but this is the Maniac Sports Show, and this is my show. And what I'm saying that you bring, when it's time to go ahead and spend that big money and get that there's one or two guys that's going to put you over the edge, you go ahead and you do it. Because everybody's vulnerable. You know, everybody is. You know, and I'll tell you what. Also, everybody's expendable too. Just look at Kirk Cousins. All right, when you had somebody, I mean, I do not blame Atlanta for I do not blame Atlanta for Kirk Cousins for benching him. Okay, when you got a quarterback, yeah, I mean the Kirk Cousins' experience did not work out. Okay, experiment, not experiment, did not work out for Atlanta. All right, I don't blame I don't blame Atlanta for benching him after giving him all that money. And as you've seen, Kirk Cousins had a couple real good games with Atlanta. Then after that, Atlanta went, you know, that's what happened. All right. So they made the move. They went ahead, they brought in their rookie quarterback, which was going to be the quarterback of the future. They said, sure, we went ahead and we paid Kirk Cousins all this money, but they didn't let that contract of all that money define their wins and losses. They said, our rookie gives us a better chance of winning. We're going to go with him. And I'll tell you what, that's the right way to play football. Is you got to go with the person that's going to give you the best chance to win. All right. Not just because you're going, sometimes you got to set your star quarterback on his ass and say, hey, you're not doing the job right. This guy's going to get the job done. Hey, why was Green Bay successful? When Brett Favre was getting at the end of his career, they went ahead and they shut his ass down and they brought in Aaron Rodgers. Okay? That's one of the reasons Green Bay has been so successful is when the Magic Man Dan Mikowski was not getting the job done, they gave it to Brett Favre who could get the job done. All right? If you can't get the job done, if you cannot do it, if you're not performing, I don't care who you are, you got to set them on their ass and bring somebody in that's going to get the job done for you. And you got to have that person on the team, you know, um, that's ready to step up, that's going to go ahead, and perform for you. I mean, one of the things that I still remember to this day is that this, you know, you don't get a sorry ass quarterback to be your backup quarterback because sometimes you might need somebody to go ahead and replace. You know, I mean, yeah, sure, quarterback controversies are not always good for the team, but sometimes they're great for the team. I mean, hey, if Bledsoe wouldn't have been down, we wouldn't have seen what Brady could do. I mean, how many people nowadays think that your seventh string quarterback, or not seventh round quarterback, but Brady was sixth or seventh round. I can't remember, but uh, um, Brady was um, back then could go ahead and replace Drew Bledsoe, which was the number one quarterback, the uh, first round draft pick. So and he did, and they won Super Bowls with him. All right, with him. So just think what the Lions could do with a running quarterback. You know, this is Goff's team until Goff loses it. All right, and that's where it should be. All right, But I'm saying get talent, get somebody that's going to be able to come in there. I don't want no beat off ass quarterback that's not going to be able to get it done. I mean, I don't want somebody who's not mobile. I want somebody who's going to be able, for a backup quarterback, I want somebody that's going to be able to step in, took off shoes, and actually, or step into the game and be able to win. In case Goff goes down, or in case Goff has this bad day, or you need to bring somebody in to win a game. All right, it's you know sometimes you just need to set them down for a few series. You know, but yeah, you guys heard the rat. You know, I'm called Maniac Tim for a reason. All right, and that is because um I also I noticed I ain't had any comments in my comments. I have had a couple people that have came in, looked at the show, but hey, anybody wants to go ahead and join, you guys can come in. I don't care if you're a Bears fan. I don't care if you're Packers fan. I don't care if you're a Viking fan. I don't care if you're a Seahawks fan. I've had other people on my show before. I don't care if you're a 49er fan. You guys want to talk other other sports, we can talk other sports. If your sport is the NBA. If it's, also, we got March Madness time is here, so we got that going on. We can talk about sports. All right. If you want to talk about major stuff, if you want to talk about the major leagues, and if you just need a shoulder to cry on, go ahead and hop on this team or this channel. If you want to boast off your team, go ahead. You know, you're more than welcome to come on this show and tell us what you feel like. You know, you're more than welcome to comment. All right. Uh, but I've been going at it for about an hour. It's Sunday. I mean, it's hard to believe we're halfway through March already. This time is going by too damn fast, man. It seems like the Super Bowl was just last week or something, and I mean, we're already, free agent has already started. We've seen the combine is done and gone. Draft is going to be here next month. Uh, we'll get to see, it's going to be at our fierce rivals over in Packerland, you know, and who knows where we'll be next year. Well, I'm sure they announced it by now, but you know, and I do want to throw out a I mean, I know there's trophies and stuff for this, but I do want to throw out a another thing. Some of these sports have in-season champions. Which is now I'll tell you what I would really like to see happen too. But this is football, so I don't think it will ever happen. All right. But what I would like to see is a in-season championship game, and what I mean by that, okay, is you have your your FC and your NFC, um, and yeah, this is biased because this year we were the best in the NFC. So mm, this is just something that I was thinking of yesterday, and sometimes I get these crazy ideas. But having like the best teams of the two with the records of each conference just play each other for like the in season uh champion. Then you still got this, but I don't know. That's what the Super Bowl is kind of for anyway. But it just you get all these wins. Yeah, it's you know I just think that it would be kind of more when you got a team that goes. I mean, like when the Patriots went 16 and all, then but they lose in the Super Bowl. Hey, you know, the only team to ever go 16 and all. The only team. You know, um, I don't think you need a preseason championship because preseason, preseason, that's just practice. That's all preseason is. It's practice. It's not, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's getting your teams up and stuff like that. But yeah, that's one thing I'm not for. But I would like to see kind of like an in-season champion, where where the two kind of played each other. But then, I mean, football being a game that is so hard on your body. I mean, let's just face it. There's only There's only 17 games. It's only a 17 game season for a reason. Yeah, and yeah, I know everybody who's watched this channel for a while knows that I'm for a 20 game season. I'm for 20 game season and adding two games to two more teams to the playoffs per division. Why? It gives you more football. It gives us. Um, it just. I don't know. It. Yeah. I mean, for one thing, yeah. I know you want that. First, we gotta get to 18 before we can get to 20. Okay. I mean, I know we're probably never gonna have a 20 game season. All right, but I mean, would that be something? You know, would that and another thing I want to see too happen is more of the decisions taken out of the referees' hands. Uh, I do think that having the getting rid of the chains is going to be a good thing, but who knows what's going to happen though? Because I'll tell you what, a lot of times when you think that something's going to be a good thing, it turns out to be a disaster. Just take a look at what when the league made it so that it was offensive and defensive pass interference could be challenged. You know, when the refs want to go ahead and make a get rid of the rule, they found a way to get rid of the rule. They just anytime you challenge those plays, they just kept what the decision on the field was. That's all they did. Now I'll tell you, coming up next year, there's no more chains on the field. It's all going to be first downs and yardage is all going to be done by that. I'll tell you, my I've seen where the refs have went ahead and said things, they didn't make it when they should have made it. I've actually even seen when a ref go ahead and this was when way back when the Lions played the Saints in the playoffs, where the Lions went ahead and they definitely did stop the Saints by where the ball was down. The refs go ahead and picked it up and moved it and gave the Saints a first down, ultimately giving the Saints a victory in that playoff game. So will the refs figure out a way to get around and actually um, get around and do this? Or hey, and I'll tell you what, AI. Okay, AI is getting more popular, more. What I I don't know exactly how I want to say this, how I want to put this, but it's getting more better in a lot of ways. Do we need to get AI refs? You know, I don't know. You know, I do think that the NFL needs more transparency in refs and on how things are called. Uh, you know, I mean, we know what happened with Buffalo against Kansas City, where sure as hell did look like Josh Allen got that first down. In my opinion, he should have had it, but there's nothing I could do to change it. Now, hey, there was a big enough cry from the from everybody around, especially the Buffalo fans, that hey, something needs to be done, and so now the chain gang's out, and it's all going to be done like the way they did in the XFL and the USFL. Now the UFL. I, I don't like the name United Football League. I don't like that name. I think they should. I I I just don't like the name. I don't like. Yeah, I don't like the way. I don't. Two things I don't like about the United Football League. Well, actually, there are three things that I don't like about the United Football League. Uh, they're not trying to be a competitive league, in my opinion. Um, they're trying. When they merged, and yes, I was one that went ahead and was saying that they should merge, even before they were even talking about merging. You know, but and I have said this in the past, so this is no news. I think when the United Football in the USFL, United States Football League, merged with the XFL, which is now the three-time defunct XFL, because basically the United States Football League um, saved them out of bankruptcy because it just, you know, the XFL has really done nothing uh, in their three tries. But I really think the Lions, or not, that they should have kept all the teams, all the franchises that was there. I really do. I could see that Houston will know. And I'll tell you what, they should not be called the Houston Renegades. They should be called the Houston Gamblers. You know, because it's the United, the USFL division. It should not, to me, they should be called the Houston Gamblers because that's the division. And I know there was two teams in Houston, and that's how they said, well, we'll keep the franchise, the Houston Gamblers, but rename them the Renegades out of respect for the XFL. But um, XFL is a dumb name anyway. Anytime you put an X in front of a name and it leads up that name, to me, that's a dumb name. I mean, it just is. Because X, basically, it means it doesn't exist anymore. So, I mean, you take a look at it. So, I mean, maybe just because the name of the XFL, maybe they were doomed before the beginning, since the beginning. Because the first XFL was started out way back when when Vince McMahon brought it. NBC at the time did not um, have a contract with the NFL when it was brought. So Vince McMahon said, "Okay, I will guarantee so much viewership." And so the XFL, then NBC went ahead and signed for the Sunday or Sunday and Thursday night football. Um, and so basically, they said to the XFL, "Well, we're sorry, we're going with the NFL, and we're not gonna be carrying you and stuff like that because you guys." So basically, Vince McMahon let that league fall apart after only one season. Okay, then I mean, it, if you take a look at timing and luck and all this other stuff, okay, just take a look at it. So Vince McMahon said, okay, we failed that one time. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring back the XFL, you know. And then there was this other football, I can't even remember the name of it, but there was this other football league that was coming up. And lo and behold, COVID hits. Okay, so they go in and they struggle through their season and stuff like that. They end up going bankrupt because hey, nobody you can't sell tickets. Your viewership isn't really that great. So XFL experiment number 2 done. I mean, what do you expect? This is anything that starts with X means it no longer exists. Okay, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, my ex-job, my former job. I mean, it's uh. So was it the name that the iconic Vince McMahon went ahead and was the undoing to that to the XFL? And then of course The Rock goes ahead, he gets a group together, he buys the XFL, and they lose money their first season and stuff like that. So in comes the United States Football League. They go ahead and they talk about, oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just merge. But it's like, oh, too bad, you know, too too bad Philadelphia Stars. Too bad, you guys don't matter. You guys don't matter. Your team doesn't matter. You know. So we're gonna cut. You know, we're gonna cut you guys because you guys don't matter. We're only gonna have 8 teams. That's it. That's what we had with the whole. So where was the improvement with the merger of the XFL and the United States? Where was the improvement? Because you didn't gain more teams. You lost cities that were becoming loyal. Now one of the flaws I think with the United States Football League, and no, they were beginning to, and I'm talking about the new United States Football League, not the original United States Football League, because that was a whole different story. That was a whole different platform. That was a platform where they wanted to win, where they wanted to actually eventually be as good or be better than the NFL. But unfortunately, that's a whole different story. But one of the downfalls of the when they restarted the United States Football League was the first year they were all played in Birmingham, Alabama. Every game was played there. Every single darn game. Okay, so if you're a Michigan Panther fan, you needed to run all the way down there, yeah, to go ahead and yeah, sure the tickets were cheap as hell. All right, and of course it did save on costs and stuff like that. And that was right after COVID year, and you know, so you could you can maybe understand that. Then the next year they go ahead and they get venues. All right, where where it's going to be played in 4 city, and eventually they want to make it so that each team has you know has their own city. So but the third year they go ahead and they say, okay, yeah, where each team is eventually played in their own city. Now, hey, that was great. They moved to Detroit. I'm glad as heck that they moved it to Detroit. I'm glad that they brought the Michigan Panthers, the original United States football champions. All right, okay, first original. So I'm glad they brought that back to Detroit. Ford Field. All right, but I just then of course the third year they go ahead and which was last year they merged with the XFL. Okay, we're gonna play Moneyball here. We're just gonna cut half your teams here. You guys pick whatever four franchise you want. We'll pick whatever four franchise we want. We will come up with this working agreement. Try to make it all work out. All right. Now, hey, kudos to the Birmingham Stallions, who has done nothing but won championships in the United Football League and also the United States Football League. So kudos to them. Now the Birmingham Stallions, their first year, they had, basically home field advantage throughout all the playoffs or throughout the full season because that's where it was uh, capped. But it was not. It was not that way the last couple of years. So, hey, Birmingham has been a strong team. Yeah, hey, welcome to Tim's Maniac Sports. Links are in the chat if anybody wants to hop on. Please feel free. Yeah, I know you came in when I'm talking about the USFL, XFL. Earlier, I touched on the indoor football league, um, where I went the last couple of um, the last couple of weeks. I went to the indoor football league game at Trinity Health Arena in Muskegon, Michigan, to see the West Michigan Ironmen play play two home games. Uh, and then also after that, we touched on free agency for the Detroit Lions on who they lost. So, but that's what that's what the show has done. Just touched a little bit, and about different things. Touched on how much I feel Trader Ben Johnson is. Shoot, but like if I look at it though, if I was if I was in Ben Johnson's position, all right, I probably would have done the same thing. Okay, if I look at it, but I probably would have. But like one of there's been two teams that have been real rivalry. Yeah, Minnesota's a rivalry, because they're NFC. But in my time in watching football, there's been two teams that's really been the rivalries for the Lions, and that is the Bears and the Packers and the Bears. They've been they've been the two rival teams. All right. So but hey, if there's hey, please, people, comment. Um, oh yeah, I also wanna say, um, make sure you guys support your local colleges, and your local high schools football sports teams too. You know, um, just go ahead and uh, support them. Uh, But don't go ahead and bring guns to the game, and make sure parents don't ruin the game for the kids. I mean, that's ridiculous. Where and but I know most of the time you don't have the parents that are ruining the game. But I mean, those just remember when there's bad calls, even on don't go ahead and blow your damn stack just because uh, uh you know um don't go ahead and storm the field or go beat up the damn ref because he caught a bad call on your kid or something like that. Because it's I know some I know all parents want to protect their kids and stuff like that, and but back yeah reason I'm saying that I remember recently in this basketball game where the parents went ahead and the crowd got into an argument and fight and stuff like that. It's just don't do it. You ruin it for the kids. You ruin it for everybody. Um, so I don't know. Now there's a there's a lot of people that will say that the Lions window has passed for winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, I don't see it that way. I don't, I mean, yes, we're having, yeah, I think in the years to come, right now, and if you look, because free agency can change people, can change teams so much, and hey, the Lions need to be proud because hey, the Bears are actually following what the Lions have done. Okay, the Bears are they're 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 kind of learning how to build the way the Lions did. All right, so that's what we're looking at now. So I do think that the Bears are going to be more competitive. Um, I just really do. Um, Minnesota's going to be around next year again. Basically, you don't question mark again. They could be this team that's amazing. I mean, you cannot deny that what the Minnesota Vikings did with Sam Donald as quarterback was amazing. All right, you know, um, JJ McCarthy will be back next year. Will he? Will they take a step back because I mean, yeah, he won't be a rookie, but he'll be kind of like as a rookie, because he was injured the whole year. Will they go with a different backup quarterback? We will. Uh, will they start somebody else? And what's this I mean, what is Aaron Rodgers going and begging it for every team to sign him? I mean, is this how much Aaron Rodgers has fell? You know, I'll tell you. Jets. Okay, when Jordan Love is done with football, or at the nearing the end of his career, don't bring him to you guys. It doesn't work. I mean, Jets. My God, New York Jets. It was laughable. So you know, former Packer quarterbacks have a way of going to the New York Jets. And they trade draft choices for them. Oh, then what did they do? They cut. Okay. Okay. So they cut Aaron Rodgers after 2 seasons. You know, I mean, yes, he deserves to be cut. So who's going to go ahead? Who is going to go ahead and take a chance? You know, I mean, actually, you know, I oh gosh. But you know what? If Aaron Rodgers could get us to the Super Bowl, we don't got to give anything up for him. I would take him if he could, because you know I want to win. But I'll tell you what, he needs to play a hell lot better. But what can Aaron Rodgers do um, behind our offensive line? You know, and that's what you gotta look at. And you know, he got a bit more scrambling ability, and I mean he does. You know, I but you know, I'm not going to give away the. I mean, you bring him in, you give him a tryout, see what he can do for the Detroit Lions. Or okay, see what he can do. If he doesn't make it, you cut his ass. You know, you know. But don't give him a long-term commitment. Don't give him a lot of money. You know, sign him to a 1 year prove a deal. You know, I mean, how long did Brady last after after he left? What was it? 2 years. He lasted 2 years after he left the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers so far has lasted 2 years after he left uh, 2 years after he left the Packers, and but Aaron Rodgers still thinks he's relevant. But you're not going to be relevant. You're not going to be relevant unless you have an offensive line, and a defense that's going to go ahead and really keep the offensive line that's going to keep your old ass safe. All right, and a defense that's going to keep your team into the game. You know, one of the things, the only thing that the only thing Aaron Rodgers did for for the Jets was maybe sell tickets before he got injured. Season tickets. Then bring him over. I mean, if you look as far as for failures, Jets are quarterback killers. Look at Sam Darnold. All right. Jets are quarterback killers. There's just some now. Hey, Aaron Glenn, we'll get to see what Aaron Glenn can do. But Aaron Glenn wanted nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I just don't know. Any questions, comments? Anybody else? I do want to thank you. I've been ranting on for like a couple hours now. So anybody who has stayed, or not a couple hours, almost an hour and a half. But I do want to thank you guys for even the ones that popped in just for a little bit. I want to thank you guys for coming in and listen to me. Please like, subscribe. I'm really promoting the Maniac Sports instead of Maniac Sports right now, just because I can get to it. Uh, uh, I'll still simulcast them on both channels as long as I got access to uh, them. But and if you're watching on Twitch and Facebook, yeah, thank you guys very much too. I do appreciate it. I I really need help to get things where I can get my merch on sale too. Uh, and also, I do want to get fan clubs going too. Where we can get certain things. Where I can get certain things going. I mean, now my dream. This is my dream, if there would be some way, and I know I need to get better at this. Okay, I do. Okay, but I mean one of the things I've finally been able to do is go to a couple of games during the weekend and stuff like that, and that's what. But see, I need to get better equipment, better prepared where I can go to these games and do more interviews with fans, with actual players and stuff like that too. Because what I want to do is go from team to team, you know, and go and make videos at these places. Go and talk to their fans, go and interact more uh, with different fan bases. Uh, I would love to get season tickets to the Detroit Lions. I would I, that would be ultimate to me for me, but it's here it is in Michigan, and I'd have way across the state, and it's like to drive, to go ahead and drive in Michigan weather halfway across the state, um, or actually across the state, because if anybody knows Michigan, and I'm in Muskegon, so basically, I'm on the total opposite side. I'm northwest of Detroit, way west. You know, so if you that that's just the way it is. I'm northwest, so it's to go ahead and drive that far in Michigan weather, and also when you work so many hours, so many weekends like I do, even though we're not working that many weekends right now, it's just hard to do. But I mean, what would be great if I could, figure out a way to retire and actually go right along with Detroit in all their freaking games. You know, that would be awesome to go to all their home and away games. I just love it, and it would be just so awesome. Well, I'm probably gonna end this. Thanks everybody for coming in. This is Maniac Tim from Maniac Sports. I am trying to do more shows. Thank you guys. Um, Roar! Okay. Everybody have a great day.